Right, I think we are live. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining me. Let me know if you can hear me and you can see me okay. And welcome to a very exciting unboxing video. This is Galactic Cruise. Now, before you all get too jealous, this is an early access copy of the game. This was sent to me hot off the press, straight from the printers. This is a mass production copy of the game. Backers should be getting their copies at some point early-ish next year. I've heard end of January, February, but TK's in the chat from Kinson Key Games. What's the current estimate? Is it somewhere around there, end of January, February time? I'm not sure. But anyway, why have I managed to get an early access copy of the game? It's because I'm working on the official how to play video for this game, which starts tomorrow morning. I get up tomorrow morning and I open up Google Sheets and I start writing the script for this, which should be, to be honest, relatively easy because I have played this game about 10 times. I have taught this game about 25 times. So assuming that I can remember how to play it, then it should be, he says, relatively easy to write the script for the game. So anyway, we have the big box here. We have the 2 expansions. We have the neoprene mat. We have the sleeves and we have the deluxe components. I think that's pretty much everything. We're going to go through it as we go. Estimating February 25 delivery. Right. Okay. So end of January, bit too optimistic of me. That's my deadline for getting the video done. I think because it's due to be delivered in February. So I should get the video done before the end of January. Now then, just to let you know, the publisher has contacted me and asked me to have a look inside this box first because they received a copy of the game as well as me, and they opened it up and they saw what was inside and the order of which things were inside, and they've gone back to the printers and just asked them not to change what's in the box, but just to change the order of things as they are in the box. So I have made a change this afternoon to what I had it, but I've been told this is what you're going to get. When you get the game and you open it, you should get it in the order in which things are here. So let's crack on and find out what is in the box. Now, some of you will have already seen my video on this, or you will have seen other people's videos, or you would have even seen unboxing videos on Kinson Key's Facebook page. But if you don't know, if you are new to Galactic Cruise, this was a successful Kickstarter campaign. It's being delivered early next year, and we're going to have a look inside and see what we get. Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the deluxe version of the game. Am I right in thinking that this is the deluxe version? Because I can't quite remember what the differences are between the deluxe version and the retail version. So we have these on top. These are player trays. They're from game trays, and there's one for each player colour. Obviously, it comes empty at the moment because one of the things that you will do when sat in front of TV is to put all of the stuff in the boxes. Okay, there is no deluxe version, just a deluxe bits out. Right, okay, so this is the version of the game that you're going to get. Excellent, right. The deluxe bits are these. This is the optional extra of the deluxe bit. So this is the game. This is what you're going to get. So we're going to put them to one side. I might fill one of those in a bit. We will see. We have these storage trays. Now, these are the storage trays for the resources in the game, the money, the advertisings. And the reason there's 2 of them is so that you can split them up and have one on each end of the table, which is a really good idea. We have another storage tray for the cruises and also for the guests. We'll see them later on. We have some cards. So these are the cards for the base game. And I've got the extra sleeves as well. So thank you very much for sending me the sleeves. Those are the sleeves. And then we've got some player pieces. So these are the 4 bags of the player pieces. We will have a look at those more closely later on. We have a box of other bits and some other bits. And then we have what looks like cardboard storage trays with foam inside to make sure that they don't get damaged in transit. So I'm not 100% sure what's going in here. Now, one thing that I don't have in here, which you will have in your own copy of the game, is the instructions on how to put the insert back together. And Kinson Key Games said that they're going to be doing a video as well for people. So yeah, there's nothing worse for me these days than getting a nice box with deluxe insert and everything else and no instructions on how it goes together. And it's shocking that some publishers still don't do that. Most of them do, but some of them don't. But they are going to put an instruction sheet in here. And yeah, there's going to be a video as well for you. So I'm going to take this out. I'm going to pop it over there. And we're going to have a look. So this is the training manual. So my involvement with this rulebook was that I did rulebook consultancy on this game. I didn't write this rulebook, but they did send me the rulebook, and I did give them some feedback on the game. I think when I first read through the rulebook, I said it was a very, very good rulebook. I did have a few comments and some opinions, and I've helped them out a little bit with it. But unless they've made some massive negative changes to it, this was an extremely good rulebook when I read it. It is quite a complex game, but you know, the rulebook's got lots of examples and stuff like that in it. What else have we got? Official employee onboarding. Right, now this, I didn't have this originally, but they've done this. What is this? Oh yeah, this is like an appendix. So it's got a full list of all of the stuff. Ooh. Right, okay, there you go. So lots of little flavour descriptions of the of all of the different segments and the playtesters. Wow, it's a lot of playtesters, isn't it? Right, there you go. Excellent. Right, let's move them down here. Right, we have the game board. And if you are thinking that this is a Vital Lacerda game, it's not a Vital Lacerda game, but the designers are fans of Vital Lacerda. They have designed a game which feels a bit like one of his games. And it's got Ian O'Toole artwork as well. So you can see why a lot of people, when they see this game, think it is a Vital Lacerda game. But it isn't. I believe he's played it and he enjoyed it, but it isn't his game. So we have the game board. The game board is two-sided. This is the side that you will use once you know the game, but this is the side that you will use when you are learning the game. And I would recommend your first two games, at least your first one, possibly your first two games, should be using this side of the board. Because what you've got is you've got pre-printed departments here, you've got pre-printed technologies, so there's still a lot of variability in the setup, but it's nice having this layout. You also have a pre-printed expert tile bonus, but when you're playing the full game or the advanced game, you'll flip the board over and there will be random things that go in here. And if you have the neoprene play mat, then yeah, that basically replaces the board. So you've got that. Yeah, other than that, everything is the same. So let's leave that on here. And let's have a look at what we've got. So, employee handbooks. This is a game where your player aid is actually a little handbook. And inside here is a lot of very useful information. And every time I've taught this game and I've given all of the players their employee handbook, they will be looking through it over the course of the game. And, oh, what do all of the cockpits do? Oh, let's have a look. It's all in there. So this saves you having to pass the rulebook around to people or pass the appendix around to people, because every player has one of these and it's got loads of rules in here. It's got loads of helpful bits of information like, oh, I'm really short on money. How can I get money? Well, how do I get money? Here's all of the different ways in the game that you can get money. So yeah, there's 4 of these, 1 for each player. That's going to be very, very useful for people. Now, this isn't all of the game board. The game board actually, stretching out, just move this over here, is this bit as well. So the setup instructions say that this is supposed to go here, but actually it doesn't matter. If you want to put this in a different location that's suitable for your table layout, then you can. But this is where the different cruises get offered. This is where the guests all line up. There's like a waiting line here and they all come down. So yeah, part of the game board, just a separate board. And then, and I'm going to show you these on the overhead camera, because these are going to make people very, very scared and run away, or they are going to make people very, very excited when they see these player boards. Now, for me, who plays a number of Vital Lacerda games, when I saw these player boards, I was very, very excited, because it kind of tells you a lot about the complexity of the game. So let's just zoom in, and I'm going to need to zoom out, I'm going to need to zoom up. There you go. That is the player board. Now, I've got it on top of the main game board just to add extra confusion, but Ian has done a fantastic job with this. Ian O'Toole has done an amazing job with this, and apologies if other people were involved in the graphic design and the layout of this. I'm crediting Ian for it because he's the artist and the graphic designer, but other people may have been involved as well. This might look like a huge amount of scary information with all of these icons all over the board, but they are very intuitive. Once you know the game, So many of the rules are actually iconographized. Is that a word? I've just made it up. It's all here and it all makes sense. And when you launch a shuttle, these are all of the steps that you follow through when you launch a shuttle. And as I say, I've taught this game about 25 times. And once you start teaching this game, once you are, an hour into the play or whatever, people learn these icons and people learn what this does. And it is really intuitive. I'm not just saying that because I'm involved professionally in the game. This is my honest opinion about it. The graphic design is very, very good and very clear. So there's 4 of these, 1 per player. The player boards are all identical. And what else have we got? We have the guests. Now, is there anything else under here? Oh, yes, of course. All of the stuff. And this is why, when you get the box, the box lid will not sit flat. The box lid won't go all the way down to the edge of the box, and that's because the punch boards are underneath it. So once you take out the punch boards, and then you put everything else back in the box, then the box lid will sit flat. Now, I'm not going to punch everything out today, but I'm going to punch a little bit out. It's time for Paul's punch test. Now, if this is one of the first copies off the factory, then that means the blades should be the sharpest. The way that production of games work is that they set the tooling in order to basically, punch these out or cut the holes and everything. And you may have noticed that sometimes you'll get a game and it will pop out straight away. And other times you'll get a game and it might not pop out straight away. It's because once they print 5,000 copies of the game, if you're the last one printed, the blades will get slightly dull. So we'll see. I'm hoping this is going to punch out fairly cleanly. Yep, that's punching out fairly cleanly. It's not like popping out, but I never like it when they pop out because then you lose bits everywhere. So yeah, just be very careful when you're punching things out. But that is punching out okay. And how many punch boards do we have? We have 1, 2, 3. Guess what I'm going to be doing tonight? 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 punch boards. Yes. So we're slightly behind on our Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power TV series. We're halfway through season 2. I think the plan when I get back from the gym tonight is that we're going to watch an episode or 2. And I'm going to be putting this away while watching those episodes. So yeah, so all of these punch board bits, these will go in all of these spaces in the insert. They are going to send me the PDF of how it all goes together. So I'm not going to try and put it all together right now. But what I am going to do is I am going to get one of the player trays. I'm just going to move that over here. And we're just going to zoom in again. I'm going to show you what I think goes in the player trays. Let's have a look. So, yeah, I don't actually know. Without this sheet, I'm kind of not sure exactly where things go. But you have your reputation marker. You have these development markers. There's quite a few of them. So, will they fit in there or do they fit in there? I don't know. Yeah, I shouldn't have tried to do this without any instructions. All of this does go in. Yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure. I tell you what. Just bear with us a minute. I am going to step away from the screen and I will be back in about 15 seconds. Talk amongst yourselves. Tell us what you're having for dinner tonight. Right, and in the words of Blue Peter, here's one I prepared earlier. So this is from the other copy of the game that I have, which I brought back from Essen, which is not a final copy of the game, but it is another copy of the game. Exhausted now. And you can see in here how everything is supposed to go. I'm not 100% sure. In fact, I don't think this is how it's supposed to go either. This was the copy that we were using at Essenspiel this year. And the reason why I say this isn't how it's supposed to go is that I can see that there are spaces in here for this. So I think these go in here, which means these probably go in here. So yeah, this isn't how it's supposed to go together, but you get the idea. Right, I'm going to put that on there, and I'm going to put that out of the way. I'm going to keep that safe, and I'm going to make sure I don't get the two copies mixed up. Right, what else have we got? We've got this tray. So this tray is for the guests. I mentioned the guests, that's these. The three different types of guests in this game. You have families. You have guests that like to chillax. And you have guests that like to go on adventures, rock climbing, and do all of those sorts of activities. So yeah, the guests will go in here. This will generally probably need to go by this board, because this is where the guests come out. Don't know where the families have gone. There's the families. Families will go in there. And the cruises, which are these tiles, cruises will actually go in here like this. And you can leave them in here so that you can draw them from here if you want to. So that's that tray. Right. Anything else in the main game box to cover? The cards. Let's have a quick look at the cards. So let's zoom in on the cards. So it's only a small deck of cards, but in here are the solo cards, because the game does have a built-in solo mode, which are these, which I've not tried yet, but I've heard is very good. So these are the solo cards. And we also have the agenda cards. So yeah, there is a part of the game where you get these agenda cards, and each of these cards is 2 uses, which is always good. You can play them at a particular time where it does what it says on the card, or you can always use them as if they were a particular resource. So sometimes, if you're short on fuel, you might need to be grabbing cards just so you can throw them away for fuel. But yeah, 36 agenda cards, I believe. Yeah, 36 agenda cards. My favourite one from playing it is probably... where is it? I'll pivot really good. The board game cruise. The board game cruise is really good. And I remember one of my early games of this, I managed to build this big shuttle, and I managed to pack in loads of extra people in there, and I think I had about 6 people on one ship. The normal maximum number of people on a ship is 2, but yeah, I managed to pack lots and lots of them in. So that is the base game. Right, now let's just have a quick look at the deluxe components. Not needed. Deluxe components for all games are not needed, but if you do have the extra money and you do want them, we have metal money. You can hear them. This is metal money, so you have 1s and 5s. These are quite heavy. These are big and chunky, which is good. And you have the advertising tokens, which are kind of like an acrylic. So yeah, that's those. That's those deluxe components. And yeah, let's have a look now at the expansions. So you didn't have to buy the expansions. The expansions are obviously extras that you don't need to use. And I will be honest with you, the game itself is a heavy game. It is a complex game. It is a heavy game. But my honest opinions on it are that it plays smoothly and it is quite streamlined. There's nothing in the game that I felt was too fiddly. And there's another rule that I have to remember. Because of the iconography is all very clear and things like that. So the base game, you don't need the expansions, right? And I always recommend never playing with any expansions when you start playing. And if you're just looking to get the game and you're curious about it, just get the base game. Because to be honest, probably half of the people who I game with regularly will be perfectly happy with the base game and will never want to play anything beyond that. Some of the people who I game with, after they've played this maybe 5 or 6 times, maybe thinking, let's maybe add in some expansion stuff. So the expansions come in 2 different boxes, and I believe that you could buy just one or just the 2, or you could buy both of them, and each one consists of a number of different modules. And you don't use all of the modules. Don't just throw in all of the modules. Just pick which one you want to use, maybe 2 of them, maybe 3. But this is not a game where you're going to be adding in all of these extra modules, because I think even the designers themselves said just don't add all of the modules because it'd just be ridiculous. Choose the ones that you want to play with, and yeah. So what we've got in this expansion, and a lot of this is going to be from memory, and some of this I don't actually know because I haven't used all of the expansions, but you get different modules with this expansion. So this expansion, these are not additional modules, these are instead of. So each of the modules from the base game, the connector is always in the middle. So when you join them together, they always fit and they always match. But with this expansion, they are either on the left and the middle or on the right hand side. So when you're joining two of these modules together, segments they're called, you need to match them up. But also, each one has, I believe, is this the one where they all have an ability as well? No, this isn't the one where they all have an ability. Okay, that must be a different one. Yeah, so that's those different modules, the things lining up. There's some, right, I've never used these, but these are different types of technologies that work in a different way. We have some extra bonuses for your player boards. We have an extra cockpit. We've got some things that make the locations better. So that's that. So I think there's 4 different modules in each of these. Some cards. Right, that's expansion 1. I've put it in the wrong way. That's the advancements one. Cabin matching, advanced technologies, and location bonuses. Right, excellent. The second one is accommodations, which is specialized blueprints. That's the one that gives you the unique bonus, and starting upgrades module. Now, you know what I've just said? I've just said you want to play the base game about 5 or 6 times before looking at any expansion stuff. And I'm now going to rewind what I've said, because I have played a game with the starting upgrades module. I'm probably never going to play a game without that module anymore. I believe that the starting upgrades module, for my personal opinion, is one that you can probably include from your second game. And the reason for that is, on the player boards, as you start launching shuttles and you start going to these various destinations, you will be placing tokens on one of these 9 spaces, and it unlocks a special ability, which you then have for the rest of the game. And the starting upgrades module basically means you're going to start with one of those. And it means right from the start of the game, you have an asymmetric power over the other players, which I think is a really good thing. Don't use it in your first game, because you won't know what any of these do, and you kind of need to play through your first game and explore these as you find them. But yeah, the starting upgrades module I'm probably going to use every time I play it from now on. The question is, do I use it with new people? Don't know. Anyway, got new technologies, and yes, we now have these. So these modules, let me just zoom in a bit on these. These segments are different because each one now has a special ability. So all of a sudden, these are not just segments that are worth points. These all now have their own special ability printed on them. And all of this iconography is the same iconography as we've seen in the game already. So you're not having to learn new iconography. It's all stuff that you should already know about. Now, a little bit of an Easter egg here, which not a lot of people are going to know about, but this was something which was done for me, and I'm actually just going to find the one from the base game. So just bear with us a minute. I'm going to try and find one of the modules from the base game. I keep calling them modules. It should actually be a segment. Right. Now, it's quite difficult to see. So this is a bit of an Easter egg, and it's such an Easter egg that even when you know it's there, it's really hard to see. Now, I have a 30 times optical zoom camera. You can't see this with the naked eye. I have tried. That is GridCon. So big thank you to the publishers of the game and to Ian O'Toole. GridCon is the name of the convention that me and Vicky organised together. And this is the board game convention tile. And there is GridCon. But I can't see that with the naked eye. So with the naked eye, that, to me, that's what I see with the naked eye. It's barely noticeable, but it's on there. It is on there. GridCon has made it into the board game. So yeah, huge thank you to that. I was really, really happy with that. And if you want to see it, you just need to get yourself a very strong pair of glasses in order to be able to see it. So that's those. That's those two expansions. I've made a complete mess of this, haven't I? I've done it again. I got too excited and I've just moved everything everywhere. And then later tonight, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to go, what went where? I don't know. I don't know. Right, the last thing I want to show you today is the playmat. Now, again, this is my honest personal opinion on playmats. But since seeing this playmat at Essen this year, and since playing a couple of games with this playmat, I have now spoken to a couple of other publishers and said, by the way, have you considered doing this? Because this is taking a playmat to the next level. What we have is we have a playmat. That's nothing new, but look at this. We've got holes in it. We have a playmat which will sit on your table, and it will sit flat, honestly. It's just because I've got bits everywhere. Right, so the playmat is going to sit on the table like that, and it's been rolled up, you know, for the last couple of months or whatever, so it will need a little bit of time to settle, but the version that I used at Essen, it lay perfectly flat. Now, the advantage of this is the things don't sit on the playmat, they slot into the playmat. So for example, if we're going to be playing a game with the nutrition compactor, it actually slots in there like that. He says, does it? Yes, it does. Honestly, it does. Yes, it does. There you go. It just needs a little bit of settling down, this playmat, because as I say, it's been stored, rolled up for quite a while. But essentially, the things that you need in the game, rather than them just sitting on the playmat, they actually slot in. And we played with this playmat in Essen, and we had everything slotted in, and it looked great, and it worked really great. So I've never seen this before, apart from Chip Theory Games. Chip Theory Games are the only people that I know of, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that have done neoprene mats with slots cut out of them, mainly for slotting dice in and things like that. But yeah, this is great. And I played a game last week which had a neoprene playmat, and I was putting stuff on the playmat and it was moving around. And this is why I'm saying that this is a really good idea, because if this was just to sit here, it moves around. Whereas with a slot, it goes in the slot, there you go, it's in, it's there. It's not going to move around. So I don't know how much it costs extra to get playmats cut like this, but it is something that I'd like to see more publishers doing in future, because yeah, things stay where they should be, and yeah, it's really good. Is the playmat printed on both sides? No, playmat is not printed on both sides. If you want to play the base game with this, remember, if you're playing the base game, it has a pre-printed set of things. You just need to take out technologies 1, 2, 3, 4, and you need to put the modules in order. So each module is a little number, and you put 1, 2 departments, I think they're called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Fixed ones there based on the number of the players. You use company gold tile, I believe, number 1, and you use expert tile, also number 1. So you do have to place the tiles on here, but it's fairly clear which ones you place. That's it. That's it for me. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you again to Kinsey Key Games for supporting the channel and sending me this early copy. And I will be getting hard to work on the how to play video for this. Tomorrow morning, I will be starting to write the script. If you are one of my Patreon supporters, you will get access to all of my behind the scenes stuff that I'm going to be doing over the next 4 or 5 weeks. And thank you in advance to all of you who will be checking my video at various stages of the process. For those of you who don't know, and if you're not a Patreon supporter of mine, what I do is I actually share a lot of the background work that I do with my patrons. So when I start writing the script tomorrow morning, it's an online document. People have access to that online document. They could literally watch me as I'm writing the script. But more importantly, once I start creating the video, is that I send it to a number of my Patreon supporters, some of which have no idea about this game whatsoever. And I will send them a particular section of the video and say, could you just let me know if this makes sense to somebody who doesn't know anything about the game. And I find that absolutely invaluable. And that's my process. So my process for creating how to play videos involves a lot of other people who check my work, not just to make sure that it's correct and accurate, but also that people who don't know the game will be able to understand it. And if a lot of the time they feed back to me and they say, yeah, it was great, you don't need to make any changes. And sometimes they'll feed back to me and say, that part there made absolutely no sense whatsoever. I didn't understand what you were talking about. At which point I know that I need to go back and rewrite the script and make it better. So yeah, thank you very much to all of you for your help and support with that. And this will be the next project that I'm going to be working on. Obviously, we have the holiday season coming up, so there's no way I'm going to get it finished this month. But as I say, I think I'm aiming for the middle of January, but my deadline is the end of January, so that the video is done and ready, so that if you're a backer of the game and you're going to get your copy of it, the video will be there for you to be able to learn it. That's everything. Thank you very much to everybody for watching. We'll see you all later on or next time. Cheers, everyone. Bye-byes.